I'm Monty Roberts, and it's become my pleasure to wish each and every one of you a happy new year and a prosperous one too. So I go on my website each year and I tell you about the past year, and I tell you that it's better than the year before. But 2012 might be the peak of it all. You can't believe how good it was, and I'll try to explain that to you month by month. January, we started out with a PTSD clinic. You'll hear more about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Combat veterans coming back. Horses have found a new work to do. It's unbelievable the results we're getting. Tell you more about it later. January, we started off like that. And then later in January, I went off to Sandringham in England to meet with the Queen and to work with her babies. But I showed Her Majesty a video on that trip, and it changed my life. And I think it changed her life too. We'll talk about that video as we go through 2012 because it was incredible, the effect that it had. Then I went off in February to tour England, and it was a great tour. Early in March, they sent me off to Denmark to do demonstrations for the Danish Warm Blood Association, which I've done before, and it went really well. I had a good time. 14 through 17 March was kind of a history maker because we had global instructors here. Instructors of mine from all over the world came to California for the very first time and had a conference where we worked with horses, yes, but we discussed the business of trying to promote more courses and better courses around the world. It was fantastic. In April, off to Brazil, touring Brazil and doing a book tour for a book that was written about me by Eduardo Moreira, and it went #1 on the bestseller list in that country. It's changing the country, and I want to promote more in Brazil because it has brought horsemanship to another level in that country. Then in May, Pat and I went off to Windsor in England again because we were invited to go to the Queen's Jubilee. We stayed there at Windsor Castle, and I had the privilege of riding Hawk. Hawk is a willing partner's horse, and I rode him leading 1,000 horses into the show ring for Her Majesty, dressed like this and having a good time. Hawk never put a foot wrong. It was a fantastic month, May, for Her Majesty and the Jubilee, 60th year of her reign. In June, my daughter Debbie and her husband and I went off to Guards Polo Club near Windsor in England. Why? Because the Queen was answering the call to give certificates to South American horsemen, high-level professionals who had decided to take violence out of their training routines and use my methods. Wow, what a great one that was. And what a help it is to my mission to leave the world a better place for horses and for people too. You know, South America is really the last bastion of very difficult, harsh training of horses. And it's changing, and much because of the influence of the Queen and my methods. In July, I went off to Brazil again to give a certificate to a man who couldn't get a visa to go to England, Mateus Ribeiro, a horsebreaker from the outback. And they had a huge show there, a national championship show, and 8 of the 16 champions were started by my methods. And horsemen have noted that, and they're changing because of it. Then in August, I had a special clinic here at the farm for over 50 people who signed up from all over the world. And I really mean all over the world. And it was a great time. And I feel like we've made some friends, and we'll be seeing them as I go on the road again in 2013. We started out with a tour of Australia. And I had such a great time there, and it was the first time that I had combat veterans included in the demonstrations. And boy, oh boy, were the comments good about that. September was my relaxation month. I got to ride Chrome quite a bit because I wanted to watch the Willing Partners horses and go through their training. So the first part of September was heavy in the Willing Partners program. Then the third week in September, off I go to Sandringham for the starting of all the Queen's babies. What a fantastic time that was. And right from there, I went into October and the English tour. 10 demonstrations. And smack in the middle of all those demonstrations, here comes a message that I should go to Hoy's, Horse of the Year show it's called, Hoy's, and see a horse there that I worked with because he was up for a championship class. So I did. I had to rent a tux. And there was this little horse called Pearly King, one that had a lot of trouble with a young man called Simon Charlesworth, who turned out to be one of the best students I've ever had because he listened to every single syllable. And he won the Supreme Championship ridden horse of the entire UK. And at the end of September, off I go because Gestüt-Verhoef awaits in the north of Germany. And I start all the babies there for the 21st year. Through November, I had a huge workload in that I started all those babies for Gestüt-Verhoef and went right off on a tour all over Germany, including East Germany, way over by Poland. It was fantastic and probably will turn out to be the best tour I ever did in terms of the horses' recognition of my concepts. Back I am in California for the month of December. Now, December is supposed to be a relaxed month, home with the family, and for Christmas and everything. And I was. But before Christmas, PTSD clinic. Wow, call this work? It was fantastic. Probably the best PTSD clinic I ever had. Remember Alicia Watkins, from homeless to Harvard, on TV. The results are coming in and they're absolutely fantastic. First part of December devoted to returning veterans. Watch what horses are doing with them and watch the results of it. It's fantastic. And then, just before Christmas, bangity bang, off we go down to Southern California and have a lesson for the uni with Stefan Peters, world champion in dressage. What a nice guy. And it was a great day with him. Stefan Peters really brings it down to the fact that it's still horses and you still have to be fair with them and you want them to want to do it, not force them to do it. Stefan Peters, watch for his lesson on the uni. And to wrap it all up, what am I going to do in 2013? Well, they're handing me lists of places I already have that I'm booked to go. Brazil again and England again. I'll be working with the Queen's horses too. And then it just goes on through 2013. I'm working really hard to bring you better lessons on the uni, more of them, and really heartfelt expressions of what my concepts can do with your horses. You, horsemen, are the most important drivers of my schedule, which went over 100,000 miles again this year with United Airlines alone. So I'm not slowing down, man. And those who are critics of my work lament because I'm not slowing down. And I'm going to keep working to see if I can get the world to be a better place for horses and for people too.